All right, we live at the barber shop. Got my brother Kyle right here. I'm not gonna get too hyped though. We already talked about that. So let me just keep it down. We're gonna open up the way we open up in the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful. We all, I believe, bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. With that being said, we can go ahead and move right into this video that we want to do. It's always good. It's never written down. Every once in a while, we got to see what's in the heart. And that's what we want to do today. We want to just see where Allah takes us, even though we have a mighty title from our brother Kyle. And I'm just going to turn it over to him and let him do the honors and let you know what that title is.
Indeed.
All right.
So I'll start by giving the viewing audience the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I pray everyone's family is doing well and everyone is in good health and good spirits as well. We're always striving to keep the spirit up.
That's right.
Faith and spirit is a true show of strength. You know, sometimes we can get too caught up in the physical. When you're going through a rough patch, it's your faith and your spirit that can help you carry you through with the help of Almighty God Allah. So I just wanted to spread that little love and appreciation to the viewing audience.
Yes, sir.
And what my brother and I had spoke on Sunday, we kind of had put our heads together, and we were talking about the topic of Judas and betrayal. So actually, I would like to defer to you first, because you said you have a certain perspective on Judas.
Right.
It gets a little heavier just into like the common person will look at Judas as, you know, Judas betrayed Jesus.
Right.
Can a man betray his brother?
Right.
Can a man who feels like he's trustworthy turn around and become untrustworthy and betray his brother?
Right.
Because that was sort of my sentiment. But I wanted to get your take first, and you know we'll just flow with it if it be the will of Allah.
If it be the will of Allah. I don't want to take too much time, because I'm always waiting to see what Allah is going to do with you and how He's going to move you. But I'm glad you even brought that up, because I want to share this. It was a book. I don't remember the author. I didn't read the book. The title, I believe, was The Judas Factor. Okay. And it was a book that actually my Uncle T was reading. Okay. And he gave it to me, and I read a couple pages of it. And it was, of course, leaning toward, it was connecting Judas and Malcolm X together, believe it or not.
Wow, okay.
You know, but it was coming from an angle that I could kind of identify with. And it was pointing to the fact that Judas, see, we all have weaknesses, all of us. And I want to start off by saying this. I always keep our brother Malcolm X in my prayers. And I thank Allah for what he contributed. And I thank Allah for the example that he laid out when he was with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And even after, when he started doing different things that he did, you know, was going in the way that he was going, you know, he still was true to what he believed. And he never went back, that's the main part, to being a sinner, a pimp, a hustler, a gambler. When Allah blessed him with our Christ figure, you know, today, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was literally resurrected, and he never went back. I was at church. I want to digress for one quick second. For the people that didn't see this video before, I shared this before, but the pastor asked me, well, if Elijah Muhammad is Jesus, who did he bring back from the dead? And when I said Malcolm X, the pastor said, oh, I understand, and got right off of it. Because Malcolm indeed was resurrected by that man, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, on the highest level. Right. If we can resurrect a sinner and bring him back to life, what is he going to do? He's going to keep sinning. So how great is that? If we can give sight to a person who's a freak, and now he can see what he was lusting over, feeling on arms and stuff, you know what I mean? How can that be used for the glory of God? But when you resurrect somebody's mind and heart and way, that is indeed the highest form of resurrection. And that's what Malcolm X experienced from the resurrection of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he never went back. So that's a powerful thing to say. He lived a disciplined life. How many of us today in the Nation of Islam is living a life as disciplined as Brother Malcolm? So I want to say that.
Right.
When you sacrifice and give your life like those great ones did, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, these are great ones. So who are we to try to criticize them in any kind of way? You know, we're to learn from them. So, in learning from Malcolm X, you know, like the minister said in Savior's Day 1993, you never know a man until you walk into his shoes. So this book, The Judas Factor, had you walking through the shoes of Judas.
Okay.
You know what I mean? A man who did not have the weakness that the other disciples had. Peter's weakness was, you know, he feared to be with Jesus when Jesus really needed him. You know, aren't you Jesus' top disciple? I don't know the man. You know, so he denied him. So he wasn't a ride or die when it came down to it. Malcolm was. Judas was.
Okay.
Judas never was afraid like that. Judas had see, you can change the spirit of a person, but it's almost impossible to change the character of a person. See what I'm saying? And Malcolm X's character, it was similar to the character of Judas. No fear, but I want to do this thing the way I want to do it. And they all suffer from that. I mean, Thomas had a problem with doubt. That's why they call him Doubting Thomas. But in this book, the pages that I was reading, it was talking about the love that Judas had for Jesus, and he wanted Jesus to bring down the Roman Empire today. He didn't want to wait, so he figured he was going to force Jesus' hand because he's seen him walk on water. He's seen him raise the dead to life. He saw the power of God, Allah, working through Jesus. So he was going to force his brother, you know what I mean, big brother, to do what he felt like he should do. So he felt like if these peons came, Allah would rain down, or Jehovah, I don't want to offend anybody, I ain't lying anybody, but Jehovah would rain down his angels on the Roman Empire and completely consume them. So he thought he was going to force Jesus to do it his way, and he felt like once they took Jesus, God's beloved, that God would come in defense of his son. Not understanding that that's what he was sent for. You know, so I don't want to talk too long on that.
Right.
You know, I got a little bad habit from you not being here. So I'm going to stop right there. But that's really basically the way, you know, the Judas thing was, because he wasn't fearful. He went back and he threw the money back at him. So we can't even say that he was into the money. They came to Malcolm X the same way, asking him that, you know, if we give you a lot of money if you just let us use you as an informant. They have that on the internet. Where you hear the conversation and Malcolm is like, why would I do that?
Okay.
That's like throwing the money back at him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, it's just that, like, when you look at it in the movement, like whether you look at, you say, like Nation of Islam, or, you know, like the Black Panther Party.
Excuse me for 1 second. I'm sorry. I want to say this last thing. When he found, Judas that is, when he found how cheaply he was being played, not only did he throw the money back at him, but he killed himself too. See what I'm saying? And Malcolm X actually said on a Mike Wallace interview, I'm probably a dead man as we speak.
Yeah, I remember.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So I'll stop right there.
Okay.
Yep.
With many organizations that, you know, they have the goal of helping people, helping Black people, whether you could say Nation of Islam, Black Panther Party, or maybe even some street organizations who strive to, you know, unite and come together to reduce the killing in their community, in their respective communities, like rival gangs. Like, in a lot of scenarios, you'll have somebody that will turn, like you said, become an informant, or give information to the detriment of the organization. like, what's the mindset behind a person like that? Like,
To give information,
right.
a person that was in a rival gang, I want to understand you correctly.
So, in the movement, not just gangs. I was using gangs as an example. How some gangs can form a truce. Like you got Crips and Bloods.
Right.
Or like even in Philly, like certain like crews will form a truce to kind of reduce the killing. Like they'll come together.
Right.
You could take the Black Panther Party, which is a group that wanted to do good for the community. But you have someone that'll like in that group that'll be an informant. Like you were just saying, they'll take money.
Right.
And ultimately the goal is to take the organization down.
Right.
At the behest of a superior, at the behest of the open enemy.
Right.
And we can say the same thing with the Nation of Islam, because we've always had a history of people who would join and become informants.
Right.
Or inform the enemy as to certain plans. So, like, when you get into the mindset of an informant, because an informant is like a betrayer, would you say?
Right, definitely.
So what is the mindset there?
Well, the mindset, the minister used the word called, recently, he shared with us the guidance that he was getting from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the minister 3 things to stay away from to be a good minister.
Okay.
The first thing he said was the intoxicating beauty of women. Stay away from that. Not stay away from the beauty of women, but the intoxicating beauty of women. In other words, don't stay there. Don't get drunk off of it. You can drink all you want if it's your wife, her beauty. But don't get drunk off of every woman's beauty. Because that's something to stay away from. You don't have to go into what that will do. But the second one is more in line with what you're saying. He said, stay away from the lust of filthy lucre. Stay away from the lust of filthy lucre. And the word lucre, spelled L-U-C-R-E, is dealing with an immoral way of making money.
Okay.
See, people say money is the root to all evil, and we know that's not correct. It's the lust of money, the love of money, that is the root of all evil. So when you love money, most of those people, that's the mentality, to answer in short. They love money so much that they'll almost do anything to get it. Well, that's filthy lucre.
Okay.
And I want to also share this because, these videos, man, you got to be very careful. You got to think about everything that's going down. People listen to every word and hang on every word. It's in my head, and I got to say it because this Malcolm X thing is a big deal. You know that. And it's still in context with the title that you put out there. When he said that to Mike Wallace, I'm a complete person. I just like to complete what I said. He told Mike Wallace, I'm probably a dead man as we speak. And Mike Wallace said, how so? And he said, you have to understand the mind of the Nation of Islam. He said, if I was still in the Nation of Islam right now, and I said to you what I just said, I would want to kill me. And Mike Wallace said, what? But he was explaining the love, loyalty, and dedication that the believers and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad had, because it was a justifiable love, because he gave life to the dead. So it's like somebody saying something about your mother or your father.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's wrong, even. So he already knew the things that he was saying was over the top, and we have evidence. And when you study and do your due diligence, you'll see that he was trying to get back to the nation. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's a delicate situation. Normally, I don't even bring him up, but because of the book, it was pointing to him. That's what made me bring him up. But he understood that a little old lady could have hit him with the pocketbook over the things that he was saying about his leader and teacher and the one who resurrected him. Okay. Even if you disagree, if I disagree with you and you're the one that set up this whole thing, See, that would be, see, when we're dealing with a Judas, you're dealing with a mindset. See, and that mindset is the mindset of, I like to call it a forgetfulness that you suffer from. You forget what the person did when everything was okay. As soon as somebody do something a little wrong, now he's the worst person walking the face of the earth. Okay. See, so an extreme mentality, most of these Judas-minded people have, and that's what gets them in trouble.
Now, were you done with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, so the call, in Islam, we deal with hypocrisy a lot.
Right.
Is to be a Judas and to be a hypocrite, is to call Judas a hypocrite like an oversimplification?
Well, I wouldn't call it over.
Mm-hmm. Like it seems like it's a little bit more to this Judas thing.
It definitely is.
All right.
You know, but I wouldn't say that it's an exaggeration or nothing like that. I would just say that it's not as accurate a word to describe the dissatisfaction that this person is going through.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's a hypocrite is somebody that was really never there in the beginning. You know what I mean? A hypocrite, when you look it up, it means to say one thing and do the other. Right. See, if that's your character, you never were in.
Okay.
You went in with doubt and suspicion. You were looking for something wrong, and you were looking to make other people like you. See, that's more diabolical. That's more sinister. Mm-hmm. But to say, that's the whole point. So we started off good. Judas wasn't, I don't believe he was on that tip. Because hey, Jesus did what he kept implying to the disciples, because they all were confused. Okay. At the end of this thing, when Jesus said, "Who do you say that I am?" Matthew 16. Who do you say that I am? And they start talking about what other people were saying. He said, "I ain't talking about them, I'm talking about you." Mm-hmm. And Peter responded, "I say you're the Christ, the Son of the living God." Mm-hmm. Okay? Well, the Christ means one anointed with power to crush the wicked. They thought that where we are now, they thought that's where they were 2,000 years ago. Right. If the minister start talking about giving himself up to be killed and he gonna come back from the grave and everything, some people that are not firmly rooted in what we were learning with all of this that we've been through, some people might fall off. And his own disciples, the closest ones to him, started falling off. So I wouldn't call that a hypocrite and then look at that word like it's the proper, accurate label for a person like that, a character like that.
All right. Now what about deceptive intelligence? Like, you know, one is, as an angel, one of Satan's flaws when he was an angel was that he was made of fire. He had he had a level of intelligence. Right. But it was like out of tune with what he wanted, was out of tune with the timing of what the Creator wanted. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when you take that and you look at Judas, do you make a distinction there? The mindset of Satan and the mindset of Judas.
Well, that's a good question. And I mean, I would have to look at this thing as Satan being the original Judas. Okay. So I can answer it that way. Okay. All right. So I do see a correlation. Okay. And a connection, a relation.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to bounce back to the term hypocrisy. So we have a saying, and the reason why I'm asking this is because you said as a hypocrite, usually like you come in kind of with this problem, like you kind of want to throw people off. We have a saying called to turn a hypocrite. Anyone can turn a hypocrite, or to turn a hypocrite overnight. So go into that a little bit, like, you know, for the person who may have never heard, you know,
that kind of term.
Right. What does that mean?
Well, I look at that, and you know, we all have our opinions. We know what opinions are, and what opinions are like. But I look at that like we also have terms like "still sharpens steel." Okay. I believe that's in Solomon's writings, Proverbs. Like men sharpen men. So sometimes when you make extreme terms like that, it keep everybody tight.
Okay.
Don't loosen up.
Okay.
I don't really read into it more than that.
Got it. Okay. So kind of like there's another saying, and what you said just made me think about it.
Mm-hmm.
How like small deviations lead to bigger deviations.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of the same wavelength? Just
Absolutely.
kind of staying on top of yourself,
Right.
In your mindset.
Keep that pocket mirror.
Okay.
Because if you don't have it, you can be guilty of the same thing that you're accusing somebody else of.
Right.
So my grandfather had all these little sayings. He said, watch who you point your finger at because you got 3 pointing back at you. I think the minister said the same thing, but these are old terms.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? So while you pointing, look at that one, look at Judas, look at this one and that one. You got 3 pointing back at you. You ignoring all 3 of those fingers.
Right.
Look at you. You know what I mean? You're non-paper delivering, you know what? You know what I mean?
I remember you used to say that once to me when I was little.
Yeah, you got a job. I mean, good sayings are supposed to be passed down.
Right.
And that's why they want to disconnect the father from the children.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because these principles can't be passed down properly. They want to give you new principles.
Okay.
We don't even have to get into that.
Gotcha.
Save that for next time.
Gotcha.
We're going to stick to the point
Gotcha.
in the topic at hand. You know?
So since like a part of the mission is this work is it's a work that's supposed to spiritually resurrect. It's a work that's supposed to symbolize.
Right. Beautiful work.
You know? So is there redemption for a person with a Judas sort of mindset? Is that something that can be
Fixed.
yeah, but before the damage is done?
Well, like I said, when you're dealing with character, Brother Kyle, that's a hard thing to change, man. Either you're an extremist or you're not.
Yeah.
An extremist is always going to react extremely.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when Malcolm was with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was extremely with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
And when he was, when he disagreed with that Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it was an extreme disagreement.
Mm-hmm.
And he, a mindset like that may have you do more than what the average person might do. The average person might just walk away and say, see, I can't be a part of that.
Right.
And then when you hear him on Sunday, he's not even talking about that person.
Yeah.
Out of respect for what that person did for him, and he wants to let that live.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with you, I'm going to go in this direction, but I'm not going to try to destroy you
Right.
because I was destroyed and you built me up. So why would I be the agent of destruction for you if you were the agent of life for me? See, so it goes right back to a character. I don't really know if there's any teaching that can change what's inside. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Jesus said it best. He said it ain't what you eat or what comes from the outside that corrupts a person. It's from what's within, what's inside you. You know what I mean? If you're a jealous-hearted person, that wasn't because you ate with unwashed hands. You were jealous from birth. Ain't that something? And that's why we talk about the seed of Abraham, because inside that seed, and ultimately that's what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was being forced by Allah to do. Spread that seed, spread those characteristics, because he didn't have a seed. It ain't the seed of Zebulon, the seed of Brother Kyle, but it's the seed of Abraham, the seed of David. That's a different seed. So Allah would want to keep that seed in the earth because his characteristics connected to that seed. Mm-hmm.
Thanks. So is that a prayer and fasting type deal? I feel like we talked about
Matthew 17:21.
Yeah.
Certain demons can only be cast out through prayer and fasting, but again, Malcolm was doing that.
Dang, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I pray for our brother, man, because the good that he did, and I pray that name stays in the earth in a good way, because he did so much more good than bad. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, Brother Malcolm, when he was asked by deceptive intelligence, they were interviewing him. I don't remember what devil was interviewing him or what Satan was interviewing him, but they said, how would you feel if Malcolm didn't die? He said, Brother Malcolm would be so much more valuable to us alive than dead. And I can feel his soul, not even his spirit, when he said that. How sincere he was about that. He said, because I believe Brother Malcolm will be right with his brother. See, there was no fear in a man like that. So once he started seeing what was going on overseas, and Trump and Melania going over there having a party in Arabia, in Mecca, Malcolm probably would have peeped game and said, you know what? I do see the light shining over here in the west. Stop looking over there in the east. He may have said that, who knows?
Wow. Wow.
Yes, sir. And take note, we always on that hour timeline, so I don't want people to think that we're going to let this get good to us and stretch it out. You know? Yeah. We're going to stop at the right time. But go ahead, brother. I'm ready.
Okay. So, I mean, what is the, so you know, like, you read the stories in the scripture, you talk about things that have happened before, and you try to bring yourself to an understanding that'll help you navigate through the current time. So, and this is kind of more like an open-ended question. I mean, you can take it like however you want to respond. If there's not a set answer or a type of answer that I'm looking for.
Okay.
But like, what should we be taking from this topic, like that will help us today in the movement?
Wow. Well, I think we should be taking this from everything that we're talking about, because I told you, only Allah has all the answers. I don't. So we should be involved in this as strongly as we can be. Self-improvement.
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 Okay.
There's always room for it. And since we, have a hard time seeing ourselves, like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that the eye sees everything but itself.
Yeah.
That means we have to really focus on, I had some dust on that hood. We have to focus on self. Since the eye sees everything but itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we have to keep a circle of people around us that we can trust and know that our brother is going to tell us the right thing and not the thing that's going to mess us up. Because you're going to have to work on the trust factor. Do I trust my brother enough to give me constructive criticism?
Right.
And not take constructive criticism and look at it like it's just destructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So we have to apply all of these things, all these factors. Yep.
And this might be a little bit like a little far out, but like, what do you think? And this, this might be more like an opinion type.
This is what we do, brother.
Right. Just kind of sparring with it.
Right.
But what might, like, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Minister Farrakhan, like having like a Judas coming up in the ranks, as the teacher and the spiritually enlightened one, how do you handle it?
I need you to say that again.
Like, and so as the teacher, as the enlightened one, you know what I mean?
So as the leader.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you handle that?
You talking about how does the minister handle it?
Yeah, like Wood, for example.
How would he handle it?
Yeah.
He's handling it. You know what I mean? I'm sure that character there, that character ain't going nowhere.
Right.
The Bible calls it this wicked seed of Cain. You know what I mean? And even though we recognize that as being two different types of people in the world, of course, the people of the spirit and the people of the flesh, and we said many times before that the people of the flesh is the European race. The people of the spirit is the original indigenous people of the earth, because we were actually made by the Spirit of God. Nothing, when I say it's nothing racist with that. This is all theology, that the people of the spirit was made, like Genesis chapter 2 verse 7 says, the Lord God formed him from the dust of the ground, breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. He became a living soul. They call us soul people. But Allah, one God, formed us. But with them, Genesis 1:26 says, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Who is the us? The us is human beings. That's people of the flesh under another leader in another mindset, producing a whole different spirit in the world. No soul is in there. It says they're made in the image and after our likeness. There's no soul in Genesis 1:26. You know what I mean? So back in the day, of course, nobody called Caucasian people soul people. When they made music, they didn't call it soul music. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So since they're running everything, our own people, because if you got the right nature, you can still do wrong, and if you got the wrong nature, you can still do good. When you have that kind of human being, that kind of man. You know, there's no getting around that. That's always going to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the minister has to deal with those kind of people in a way where he's still keeping the nature of God, no respecter of persons. So how do you get rid of a person that's not good? Work him. Because if he's sincere, the sincere believers are going to work no matter what. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah. See, the hypocrite can't say that.
Right.
So that's how you weed them out, with work.
Wow. Praise
And like
be
what
to Allah.
Timothy said, fight the good fight. See, these people don't want to fight the good fight. They want to fight the wicked fight.
So you know what? My mind is going
Go ahead.
to history now. 'Cause we're talking about hypocrites.
Right?
We're talking about fighting. At this time right now, you know, the fight, it is a physical, and it feels like it's more of a spiritual, and it's more like, you know.
Well, it's both now.
It most certainly is both.
Yeah, it was more spiritual back in the day.
Right.
I think that's why we lost.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And so, all right, I'm going to take it back to the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
Alayhi salam.
Right.
Because he was dealing with actual warfare.
Yes.
Physical war.
Yes.
And the penalty for being a hypocrite in that sense was death.
Right.
So can the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam, or can the spiritual leader still have compassion and love for a hypocrite? You think?
Well, I will say this. Every chapter of the Holy Quran starts off Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Allah stamps that chapter with that declaration.
With the exception of.
With the exception of. Now you see, that's called the Holy Spirit, brother. You know, in the nation we got it too. You know what I mean? They make it seem like we don't have the Holy Spirit in the nation. Brother jumped out, he didn't care what I was doing with his head. Now that's the answer. That ain't my answer. That's the answer of Allah. But I'm going to finish it for those who don't know. The 9th chapter of the Holy Quran, entitled "The Immunity," is the chapter that deals with hypocrisy. And I believe, and we believe, that's the reason Allah did not start that chapter off Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful.
Right.
So can in the writings of the Holy Prophet, in the Holy Quran, it says, why would you offer the enemy love? You know what I mean? So that's to answer your question. Why would you offer the enemy love when he fights like heck? I'm paraphrasing. Because with you, and tries to drive you out because you have taken away with your Lord. So the answer is no.
Yes, sir.
In short.
Yes, sir.
See, this ain't Christianity, and ain't no ill will toward Christianity.
Right.
I believe real Christianity, like our leader and teacher says, is Christianity. A real Christian is a Muslim, and a real Muslim is a Christian. But we had some contaminated Christianity. You can read all about that. Check out the video that we just talked about. Who is God and who is Satan, the devil? 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3 and 4 is dealing with the two different gospels that exist. Galatians chapter 1, 6 through 10.
The gospel that isn't even the gospel.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Anything else on that point?
No, sir.
So I guess I'll close that off with having you respond to this. I think, and if I'm saying it right, a hypocrite is worse than the devil.
Yes.
So just speak to that point. What does that mean?
I never heard that saying. But I never heard that saying.
You never heard? Okay.
No, but I can feel it though.
Okay.
The difference to me, if you look at Satan, see, a hypocrite is somebody that's acting like he's something that he's not.
Yeah.
Satan don't do that. When you look at this conversation between Allah and Satan. His name in the Holy Quran was Iblis. Chapter 7, I believe, verse 20 up in there. Chapter 2, verse 30, and all these other different places. Chapter 15, you know what I mean? I think around 20 or 30, verse 20 or 30. Iblis did not agree with Allah and made it known. Why should I bow down to these people that you have made out of black mud, formed in a shape, or made out of dust?
Right.
Why should I bow down to them when you made me out of fire? I'm better than him.
Right.
See, a hypocrite would never show his hand like that. He just would hold it in and show his hand with his works and deeds and just try to contaminate other people.
Gotcha.
See?
So
but
like,
Satan was talking straight.
So like you were saying before, like more of a sinister kind of deal.
He wasn't even sinister. He didn't agree. See, there's a difference between Satan and the devil. Of course, our lessons say that Yaqub taught the devils to do this devilishment. And our supreme wisdom, you know, Lost Found Muslim lesson number 1, question number 4, answer number 4, right? Well, Satan in the Holy Bible, if you look at the book of Job, chapter 1, all through it, whence comest thou, Satan? This is what Allah God is asking Satan. And Satan said, I'm coming to and fro, up and down. And you go to 1 Peter or 2 Peter, seeking whom I may devour. So he's letting God know what he's doing.
Right.
He's not lying.
Right.
God said, have you considered my servant Job, who was an Ishmaelite? So the Ishmaelites were always the obedient of God. I was looking at that 10 Commandments movie recently, and it was funny when Moses got his Ishmaelite father-in-law. When Moses said, who are you and your people? Who are you, Jethro? He said, we are from Ishmael. We are the obedient of God, aka we are the Muslims. The Israelites, with no shade on them, when you read the Bible, which is what we don't do, you'll see Israel doing just what his father Jacob did. Disobeying, breaking the law, killing the prophets. All of these things is what they were doing. And Allah chose them for that reason. Knowing that the nature of them would do what they did, so he can show us what not to do. That's why they were chosen. Chosen don't always mean
Or like a...
he is a more moral choice. You know,
Yeah.
I'm choosing you because you are more moral than other people. No, I need to show people what happened when you disobey. So I'm going to choose people to disobey.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
And then show them the consequence.
Exactly. Now I can write scripture better because I'm showing you. Saw what I did to them, right? I kept the covenant because I took it with the children, but the adults, you know, when the children grew up and I had to do the same thing to them. This is the way our Bible is written. But when it comes down to Ishmael, it was a different situation. So that's the same thing with Iblis. It's a difference between Satan. We were in the book of Job. God told Job, or Satan, don't kill him. You can take everything from him.
Right.
Leave his health alone, leave his life alone. And Satan did not disobey. Wow. So now you're answering truthfully and you're following instructions. And then he said, well, it's because he got this good health. He would curse you to your face if I can get with that. Well, God said, don't kill him. Go ahead and take his good health from him. And like I ministered when he, you know, did not have good health, because most of these scriptures is talking about our leader. You know what I mean? When I say our leader, our leaders, but he's our leader today. But when the Most High realized Muhammad was here, he was fulfilling scripture. When Master Muhammad was here, he was fulfilling scripture. And now that the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan is here, he's fulfilling scripture. So these are the men that God is sending us out of his love. And we should treat that love a little better. And if nothing else, investigate. But it's a difference. These Caucasian people are flat out, I'm talking about the evil ones who did not accept Jesus, who did not accept Muhammad or our leader. They are the ones who flat out lie, because we're in our time now. They're not even supposed to be here. And that's why the vaccines, I don't want to get into that, because that's a whole nother thing. But I personally believe that that's the reason that they're making extreme moves like that to get God's people out of here. And it ain't just vaccines. So I will say that. You can't even eat a grape today.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? The water's not good.
Yeah.
And these are the things we agree on. And on this page, that's what I like to do. Talk about things we agree on. This is no conspiracy theorist page. And that's it.
Okay. Man. I feel like this has been pretty
Informative. See what you've been missing?
Wow.
Your brother been growing.
Yes, sir.
Just like we grew in the street. When the minister told his soldier, boom, and we saluted and followed instructions, you know, kick back, that's what we did. And now he's saying, go back. We gotta go back out there and do what we gotta do, brother.
That's it. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Work cheerfully as well.
Oh yeah, but why wouldn't you be?
Right.
The only way you can work and not be cheerful if you may be suffering from hypocrisy. Doing what you really don't want to do.
Wow.
So we can end on that.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Praise be to Allah. And I think that was a great last thought too. So
See that?
just go ahead and wrap
I ain't
up.
got nothing to say.
All right.
Yep.
Well, thank
Now you
you
can go ahead and finish your hair.
Right.
So brothers and sisters, we leave you as we came before you with the greeting words of peace. Brother Kyle, Brother Zebulon, Brother Jabril, we greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you,
So,
son.
family.